It has been a long and uncomfortable 4 days after Tropical Storm Isaias slammed the region. Tens of thousands of homes and businesses still without power this afternoon. And it could be days before that power is finally restored. As you imagine, frustrations are mounting today. Let's get to our team coverage, and we'll start in New Jersey with News 4's Brian Thompson, live in Union Beach. Brian.
Yeah, and we did move out over to Middletown. I'm sorry we forgot to tell you that, but we are seeing progress according to JCP&L, which says that 85% of the customers who lost power will have it by the end of today. However, that still leaves more than 100,000 homes and businesses without power going into the weekend. Company also saying that, well, almost all, but note, not everyone, will have their power back by sometime on Tuesday. This, of course, is frustrating for those who are still waiting. Progress is still in the eye of who has power back and who does not. Tuesday, 97% of all homes and businesses in Middletown were without power. Mike Sullivan, walking his dog, has a generator at home.
I got an 88-year-old father in the house. I gotta have electricity for him.
Mayors across the state hearing from residents frustrated with, in JCP&L's case anyway, a generic power will be back by Tuesday the 11th. Middletown's Tony Perry.
I know a lot of folks think that the response could be quicker. I'm one of them. But, you know, we got to keep working with JCP&L to get everybody back on track.
The outages from Isaias are half of Sandy's 8 years ago. Full restoration time of 7 days is half of the 14 days of Sandy, begging the question if anything has improved. Governor Murphy promising a post-mortem.
After each one of these storms, we do a full after-action post-mortem, as it were. We will do that.
That will include PSE&G's response in its service territory, this Highland Park, but many seem patient after 4 days.
I think they're doing the best they can. So we're making the best of it.
Now, just minutes ago, JCP&L's president held a news conference where I am here in Middletown, noting that unlike Sandy, all of this work is being done in the middle of a pandemic with requirements to stand by CDC guidelines. But then again, when I asked about tree trimming, well, that has always been an issue here.
We've almost doubled our investment in tree trimming and vegetation management, and I have talked to some mayors that have said they have seen the positive impact of that.
We'll see what happens with all the tree trimming that has been emphasized since Sandy 8 years ago. Whether that has stepped up even more than it was then, that will be part of the post-mortem. Live in Middletown, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.
Yeah, no doubt these utilities will be feeling the heat for the next couple days and weeks. Thank you, Brian. Let's go from New Jersey to Long Island now. And News 4's Paisy Cheng standing by live in Westbury with the update there. Paisy?
Yes, Stefan, so this power line here was taken down by a tree that fell during the storm. This line has since been repaired, and some people on the street have power again, but there are still many residents in this section of Westbury called the M section that are sitting in the dark. Right now, PSE&G says they have about 105,000 customers still out of power, and on a call late this afternoon, they said people won't be back up until Sunday and possibly Monday. The sound of saws and the sight of utility workers was welcomed in Centerport, where residents say they still don't have power and no response from PSEG. But don't ask Laura Perks what she thinks.
Not words I could use on the camera. I'm a Christian.
Today is the first day I'm seeing trucks anywhere. I think they could have done better.
Frustration against PSEG is growing across Long Island as neighborhoods remain in the dark on day 4.
Every time they give us a time that they're going to restore it, it's going to be restored last night by 11, it's going to be restored today by 3, you know, whatever, it's not accurate.
Neighbors on this Westbury street are growing tired of living without power and upset they can't get a straight answer from the utility.
I'm so sorry, I'm screaming at you.
We found Donna Nasta, who was on the phone with an actual person at PSEG. Her generator is broken and she's eager to get back to normal.
It's absolutely horrible that we can't get an answer. We can't get anything. And when we get an answer, I don't want to say it's a lie because the reps on the phone are telling us what's in front of them, but it's not accurate.
Lou Ragusa got this generator from a friend whose power was restored. Now he hopes he can hang on a few more days.
We can run one of our refrigerators, but it's been a nightmare the last few days.
PSE&G says they have about 3,500 line workers as well as tree trimmers working for them trying to restore power. As of today, it was announced that on Monday, the Nassau County Legislature will hold a hearing into what happened with this storm. We're live from Westbury tonight. Paisy Cheng, News 4 New York.
Okay, trying to get some answers, Paisy. Thank you very much. Now to Connecticut. Connecticut has a presidential emergency declaration now. That allows the state to directly ask for federal help assisting in the ongoing cleanup efforts. We've seen reports as many as 500,000 customers are still without power in Connecticut. Today, Governor Ned Lamont and other elected officials are directing their anger at those utility companies, demanding they do more. Governor says the state's largest provider of electricity did not adequately prepare for the storm, and the response afterwards, he says, is unacceptable.
We're doing everything we can, making sure Eversource brings in the cavalry, no questions asked, from all over the region. They should have been pre-positioned the day before the storm. Now we're going to have them here day after the storm, but they're going to be there taking care of each and every one of you. And I'm going to hold their feet to the fire every day until this is done.
The governor says Eversource has promised him a town-by-town breakdown of those restoration plans by tomorrow. Westchester County, one of the hardest hit regions in our area. Thousands are still in the dark this afternoon. And now Con Edison is like a lightning rod of criticism in the aftermath. News 4's Mark Santia live in New Rochelle as the utility is reaching out to folks in the community trying to give them some answers, Mark.
Yes, Stefan, I want to show you what's happening here at City Hall right now. You can see Con Ed. They're set up here at City Hall, giving out free dry ice. They're also giving out information. Residents telling us, though, they just want their power restored. A sparking wire falls on a car in Yonkers, setting it ablaze. Power is knocked out to the neighborhood. 4 days later, the car is gone, and so is the power.
It's been really difficult because we had like $700 worth of food that we had to throw away.
For 8-month-old Journey, this week has been quite the trip. Nestled in her brother Picasso Green's arms, this family has spent nights in hotels trying to stay cool.
It's very difficult because we can't keep her there at night. We have to convert somewhere else, like a hotel. It's like 150, maybe 200 a night. So it's been 4 days. You add that up, like we kind of like at our ends almost, you know? But we do what's best for her, so she's good.
The issue, Picasso says Con Ed still hasn't told them when power might be restored, so he can't make proper plans for his family.
I don't understand how they wouldn't know about turning everything back on. This is urgent. It's very urgent.
From Yonkers to New Rochelle, where the line for free dry ice given out by Con Ed stretched south down North Avenue. The energy company says it's making progress across Westchester County, but it's not quick enough for some.
It turned out to be probably the most severe storm we've had since Sandy. Caught a lot of people by surprise, but shouldn't have caught Con Ed by surprise.
For Yonkers Mayor Mike Spano, he says Con Ed must do better. He supports an investigation into how the company prepared and executed their plan for this storm.
They have a monopoly, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. And if they can't handle that, that responsibility, then they need to step aside and let someone else do it.
The dry ice will be given out here at New Rochelle City Hall until 9 o'clock tonight, or Con Ed says until they run out of dry ice. We're live in New Rochelle. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Okay, glad that's available, Mark. Thank you very much. Public advocate Jumani Williams in the city has revealed a twofold public power plan. He's calling for a municipal grid, expanding the current power grid to both public and private control. That means the city would have to acquire those Con Edison transmission grids and establish the city as a public utility. He says that would equal fewer outages, which would be less severe and shorter. He also says it would mean lower rates compared to Con Edison.
You don't have to pay a CEO $10 million if you don't have to pay shareholders billions of dollars. Right off the bat, you're cutting out fat. Also, when people have local control over the decisions that are being made, they'll make decisions that maximize efficiency and efficacy and not necessarily maximizing how much money someone will make.
Williams says now is the time to get started because it will likely take up to a decade to implement. State Senator Kevin Parker also attended that news conference. He says the state will hold hearings on the blackouts. All right, so if Con Ed wasn't getting enough grief after Isaias, this morning a large chunk of Upper Manhattan and then a part of Queens plunged into darkness. Today's blackout now raising concerns about the city's delicate power grid. Started a little after 5 a.m. when the lights went out on the Upper West Side, Harlem, and then the Upper East Side. This lasted just about a half an hour, but it impacted more than 180,000 customers. It knocked out subway service on several lines and even suspended Metro North. Mayor de Blasio says it started with a lightning strike. And then a short time after that, thousands more lost power in Middle Village, Queens. And that's where we find News 4's Gilma Avalos with an update there. Gilma, what's the status?
Well, Stephen, Con Ed says that the power outages this morning were the result of early morning storms here in Queens. And at this hour, crews are still trying to restore power to some 2,600 customers. But many businesses here say the day is a wash. You see doors are closed, and that Italian ice shop behind me is trying to outpace melting product for the second time this week. Con Ed customers in Middle Village, Queens got a rude awakening.
I woke up 7 o'clock with no power. My coffee pot went off. I had coffee and then it blew out.
It was a good thing Sharon Nunciata had had her coffee before learning the lights could be out for a while.
I had a text message from Con Ed, maybe by tomorrow, August 8th at 11 p.m.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The power outage, the second one in a matter of days for many in this residential community. Customers say they first lost power after Isaias gave Queens a lashing. Queens, the hardest hit borough with the largest number of outages in New York. No sooner had it come back than it was gone.
Frustration. We were hoping that the school has their own generators.
Today's outage shut down a local rec center. Little Anya was sent home and her mom, who's working from home, was scrambling for a plan B.
We have to figure it out how to take care of the little one, how to do the work, how to cook. Apparently there will be some takeouts going on.
Governor Andrew Cuomo has already called for an investigation into whether state utilities were prepared for the storms. Tens of thousands here in Queens remain without power. Today, Mayor de Blasio said Con Ed needs to speed it up.
I really wish Con Ed would get the memo that they have to be clear in their game plan for New Yorkers. People are depending on this power.
People like small business owners already hit hard by coronavirus closures. Lights out mean lost income. This threading salon was counting on weekend traffic.
We have to think whether we should be in business for future or not. So I don't think so. It's very hard,
And as we were on the air, an update for you. The lights have come back on to some of these businesses. Traffic lights, though, at this intersection still out. Con Ed has told us that those 2,600 customers should expect to see power restored by 5 o'clock. So we'll be watching live in Middle Village, Queens. Gilma Avalos, News 4 New York.
Come back on. Gilma, thank you very much.